Welcome to Showing Up Anyway, the podcast for people who are not perfect. On this show, we talk about intuitive eating, fitness without obsession, and healing your relationship with food and your body. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Showing Up Anyway. I am so excited that you're here. Happy November. I am really thrilled about today's topic because it's going to be about something that you use every day and you probably don't even realize it. It is your inner food voices. We're talking inner food voices. This was a concept that was created by the authors of Intuitive Eating, and it is referring to that ongoing commentary in your head about what, when, and how you need to eat. Some of these voices are really harsh and strict about the rules that you have, and others are caring and helpful, but all of them shape how food feels in your life. And being able to understand which inner food voice you're using to speak to yourself can really be helpful because it helps you gain more control. It'll really help you start to gain more awareness around your thoughts, and if those thoughts are negative, how to be able to start to reframe them. So in this episode, we're going to explore the landscape of these voices. I will explain each one. I'm going to tell you how they tend to sound with some examples and how they influence your choices and your emotions. And we're going to also talk about what it looks like to respond with more curiosity and compassion instead of judgment. It might help you to think about these inner food voices as different characters that are in charge of telling you how to feel about your food choices. Okay. So I don't care how you do it, whatever helps you remember. You want to assign a character, a cartoon character to each voice, go ahead. You want to make one Mickey Mouse and one Barney Rubble and one Pikachu or something, that's fine. Whatever helps you remember. But what's important is that you understand that they're all going to tell you different things and they work in different ways. There are 7 in total, okay, and they fall into 2 groups. The first group is going to be your destructive dieting voices. Okay, maybe these are the villains, maybe you have Jafar or something. I don't know. These are your destructive dieting voices. They're going to be your rule enforcers and the pushback in your head that follows those, those judgments. They do feel really judgmental. They moralize things. They make things feel good and bad, and they tend to lead to all or nothing type thinking, which of course makes you feel really guilty. Makes you feel out of control. It makes you feel, just disconnected with your body's cues. The second group on the other side are your powerful ally voices. These are the helpful ones. They notice things about your habits without judging. They offer compassion. They help you look at nutrition as just a tool, and they help you set boundaries around eating that makes it feel safer and makes it feel just overall more satisfying. Now, I do not want you to try and fight every thought that comes into your head, okay? Every thought's not going to be negative. Your goal is just going to be to recognize which voice is present and to turn down the destructive voices that you hear and turn up the allied voices so that you can respond with more curiosity and care. All right. Different voices are going to take the lead on different days. Some voices are going to be much louder than others might be. So I just want you to know this going in, this is going to take a lot of listening. And that is why people struggle with it. Okay. As you've probably learned from this podcast, mindfulness is challenging. It takes practice to pay attention, but every time you do it, you gain a little more awareness. So let's go through some of these. We're going to start with the first group, the destructive dieting voices. The first destructive dieting voice is probably the most prevalent for most people. It's called the food police. Okay. This voice acts as judge and jury over what you eat. It talks in absolutes and hard rules, and it keeps a running scorecard in your head. Good day, bad day. Allowed, not allowed. The second you reach for a cookie after lunch, that voice is right there to be like, don't you dare. You already had too many carbs today. It's going to tell you things like sweets are bad for you. Don't eat after 7 p.m. Low-fat foods are always a better choice. You already had dessert today. Fruit has too much sugar. Breads are going to make you gain weight. Don't eat too much salt. When we talked about food rules in an early episode, the food police is what we're talking about. Now, you might logically know that some of these things are BS, but for a lot of us, they are so ingrained in our brains from a lifetime of dieting that it's really hard to objectively let these feelings and thoughts go. But the food police is essentially the accumulation of all the food rules in your life and all the diet culture that you have been taught. The tricky part is that this voice feels like it's protecting you. Right? If you follow the rules, well, then you'll be healthy and you'll be accepted. But it really just escalates your anxiety. It makes you question yourself. It makes you feel guilty and ashamed. And it makes eating feel like a test that you're always failing instead of something that feels enjoyable and makes you feel good. Let me give you an example. Imagine that you are a little hungry in the afternoon, okay? And you have a pan of brownies sitting on the stove, freshly baked. That sounds really good, right? But you have this thought in your head that is like, you know what? If you start, you're not going to be able to stop. Or you didn't exercise today, so you didn't really earn that. So you just decide, I'm not going to have it. It's not worth it. But you just end up feeling really hungry still, really deprived, and you keep thinking about those brownies because it just sounds so dang good. Well, later you go downstairs and you have 4 brownies because that craving was never addressed and it went from a level 2 to a level 10. The food police in that moment did not keep you safe, folks. It kept you disconnected and it led to a worse result later. Can you see how that voice can be harmful? The second voice in this group is the Nutrition Informant. Okay, this is a voice that sounds level-headed and it sounds very scientific and it's always thinking about labels and ingredients and macros. Honestly, this voice sounds like every terrible wellness influencer that you see on social media. Okay. It is insisting that you know the macros of every food, you know how many calories and what the ingredients are. It's going to tell you things like this has too many artificial sweeteners, that has seed oils in it, or you can't eat that potato because you've already reached your carb goal for the day. Basically, it's going to take any fact as a rule, and instead of asking what would satisfy you, it becomes about how compliant you are. The Nutrition Informant uses the knowledge that you already have around food, okay, which is a good thing to have knowledge around food, but it uses that knowledge against you. It puts those food into good and bad boxes based on the ingredients and the nutrients and completely ignoring actual context, okay? An example of this voice would be if you're out grocery shopping and you want to pick up your favorite loaf of bread, okay? Picture it in your head. You're going to see that loaf of bread and you're going to see right next to it the low-carb, gluten-free keto bread. And the Nutrition Informant is going to tell you that's a better option, okay? Or if you're out at a friend's party, the informant might tell you that you can only eat the vegetables because you don't know how many calories is in that pizza, okay? The biggest problem with this voice is the guilt and the anxiety that the Nutrition Informant creates inside your head. If you're still not sure about how to identify it, here's a little self-check that you can do. Right before you're about to make a healthy choice, okay, or after you make a healthy choice, do you feel calm and satisfied? Or do you feel tense and deprived? Okay. If it's tense and deprived, that was probably a choice that was made by the Nutrition Informant. All right. Now, the third and last destructive dieting voice is the diet rebel. Okay. And this one may be the most obvious, the easiest one to identify on the list. It is the angry, defiant voice that shows up when you are tired of being told what to eat and how to behave around food. It's going to feel like that internal teenager that is pushing back against strict parents. It's loud and impulsive. It's that voice in your head saying, forget this diet. I'm eating whatever I want. My husband says I can't eat that pizza. Well, I'm going to eat the whole damn thing. That'll show him. It usually appears after you've been restricting or after some sort of criticism. The diet rebel exists as a way of proving a point rather than meeting a need. And admittedly, it can feel a little freeing for a moment. Okay. It's like, fuck it. I can do whatever I want. But it often will lead to you pushing past that fullness level, pushing past that level 7 to 8, 9, or 10. You know, you're thinking, well, I already had that cookie. I might as well finish the whole box. And you already know how you feel after you overeat, right? You feel physically ill, you feel guilty, and you feel more distrust around food, which puts the power right back into the hands of the food police, which just tells you again, reinforces that idea that you're a bad person and you've done bad. An example of the diet rebel would be, let's say, you've been on a really strict diet of salads and protein shakes all week long, but when Friday comes along and friends invite you out to burgers, well, then the diet rebel is probably going to come out to play as well. It's going to come and say, hey, you know what? I've been so good all week. I deserve this. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to get a double cheeseburger. I'm going to get large fries. I'm going to get milkshake and dessert. And you eat until you feel stuffed and uncomfortable and maybe even past that, right? And then the next morning, the food police is there, puts you on the scale and said, see, you have no control. You gain weight. What have you done? Now, if you really know the diet rebel well, if you experience that voice in your head often, I want you to understand this. There is usually a message underneath that voice, okay? The diet rebel is a signal that something is not working. It's your brain telling you that the rules you're following are way too rigid, the criticism that you're experiencing from whoever is taking a toll, and that you need more freedom and trust in your life. And being able to address any or all of those things is the only thing that's going to help reduce that. All right, now let's talk about your powerful ally voices. There are 4 of them. These are the parts of you that help you get away from the rigid rules and the shame and the guilt and move you towards curiosity and kindness and self-care. Instead of using nutrition against you, they use nutrition as a tool in a non-judgmental way that makes eating feel safer, more enjoyable, and in a way that gives you more freedom and power and control. The first of your powerful ally voices is your food anthropologist. Now, what is an anthropologist? Do you know? It's a type of scientist that studies humans and human behaviors. They're not out there judging civilizations, okay? They just collect and report data. So your food anthropologist would be a non-judgmental scientist in your mind. a neutral, curious observer that notices your food and your eating behaviors without blaming you, but also without praising you. Again, it's neutral. Would say something like, you know what, I ate half my sandwich and now I feel full. Or I noticed I was hungry again 2 hours after breakfast. No good or bad. It's the epitome of it is what it is, okay? This voice helps you see patterns to learn what your body needs. And when you're able to just gather information in a relaxed, calm, neutral way, that is a foundation of becoming an intuitive eater because it keeps you in touch with your body's cues and what your experience was like. When you approach your meal, your plate, like an anthropologist, you just naturally quiet the food police because there is no judgment. Now, a second powerful ally voice is your nurturer, okay? I like to call this your gentle parent. This is the compassionate voice that you probably hear way too little, if we're being honest. When I talk about being your own best friend, your nurturer is what I'm talking about. It is offering comfort. It's offering permission. It'll tell you things like, hey, it's okay to have dessert if you want it. I'm proud of you for listening to your hunger. Your worth is not determined by what you eat. And if you're still hungry, seconds are allowed. It sounds like me, I think, to be honest. Maybe we should call it your inner Adam. I'm renaming it. This is your inner Adam. No, this voice, your nurturer, counters the food police with kindness. And when outside criticism shows up or when your own self-talk is really, really harsh, the nurturer is there to tell you that you're doing your best. And especially when you are around family or if your social circle often is commenting on your weight or your food, the nurturer becomes really essential because it reminds you that you are competent and adequate and it offers positive self-talk when you need it the most. The next one, number 3, it is your nutrition ally, which is the calm and practical voice that uses nutrition to care for you rather than control you. It is supportive and it's specific and it's going to tell you, let's add something with protein so that this meal keeps you a little fuller longer. Let's grab a carb and a fat so we have more energy for our workout. Too much garlic is going to make my tummy a little upset. A piece of fruit is going to make this meal more pleasing to the eye and it's going to add some more fiber. There's no fear. There's no grade. Okay. There's no judgment. The key difference between this one and the Nutrition Informant is the intent behind it and the feeling that it leaves you with. If you really can't quite tell the difference, I'm going to give you another test. Okay. Let's say that two foods are equally appealing, but one has a little less saturated fat. Your nutrition ally is going to guide you towards the option with less saturated fat. But again, these are equal foods. You're not choosing the less saturated fat bread because you feel like you have to. It doesn't make you feel deprived, but it still can honor your health and take satisfaction into consideration as well. Does that make sense? So we are moving on to the last and the most powerful ally of all, and this is the one that we're all trying to achieve. It is the accumulation of all that we're working towards. This is the intuitive eater. The intuitive eater is the wisdom that you achieve once the diet mentality is mostly extinguished in your brain. It asks simple questions and it trusts the answers. What sounds good right now? Am I still hungry or am I satisfied? All of the thoughts that the intuitive eater has are flexible and kind. The intuitive eater notices things like the food anthropologist. It has the compassion of the nurturer, and it has the practical sense of the nutrition ally. It honors whatever your body is asking for: biological hunger, satisfaction, self-protective instincts. It knows that life happens and it helps you adapt accordingly, and it helps you make neutral decisions that can best help you care for yourself. And that's it. Now you know your destructive dieting voices and your powerful ally voices. There is and will continue to be a mix of them in your head every single meal and every single day, okay? You're probably not going to ever defeat your destructive dieting voices entirely. Don't worry about that. Just try to turn down the volume through recognition and through understanding, and turn up the volume of the powerful ally voices. You do not need more rules and more judgment. You need more flexibility and kindness and trust. There's going to be slip-ups. We're doing this imperfectly, right? Okay, that's part of being human. You don't need to feel guilty. The food police and the diet rebel are still going to pop up from time to time. But when you catch that harsh thought, try renaming it and asking a kinder question. Oh, you know what? This is my food police telling me that I'm doing bad. What would my inner nurturer say? I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that little moments of recognition like that are going to completely change your life. Every meal and every snack where you can listen to those helpful voices over the hurtful ones is going to help you gain a little more and more trust in yourself. Thanks for listening today, folks. Your homework assignment is to give a few minutes thought into the destructive dieting voice that you heard the most today. And I want you to name one thing that you can start to tell yourself to feel a little bit better about your decisions at your next meal. I'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Showing Up Anyway. You can find it for free on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And wherever you're listening, if you like the show, I'd love it if you gave me a 5-star review, because that does help other people find the show, and hopefully it'll help change their life just like you're looking to change yours. If you're listening on Spotify, though, you can follow me and tap the bell icon so you get notifications when new episodes come out. I'm Coach Adam. Remember, when things get challenging, keep showing up anyway.